Today we're making dumb people smart. So if you're dumb like me and you bought Amazon flooring and installed it yourself and now you're having problems with it ripping and leaving dye on your feet and clothes, then this video is for you because today we are going to be learning how to remove this boat flooring and get it prepped for new boat flooring that we are going to have installed soon. But before we get started, there's a few things that we are going to need in order to remove the boat flooring. So a few things we're going to need are a scraper. We're going to need some gloves. I got a dollar store bottle, and we're going to just be using the nozzle off this bottle in order to attach it to the Citrus King bottle, which is going to be what we're going to use to get the adhesive off of the boat surface. We're going to be able to wipe the boat flooring off and completely remove any of the residue. That way, when they go to install the new boat flooring, it's nice and clean and the surface is well prepped for them. We're also going to need a brush to agitate the Citrus King on the surface when we do the second coat. And of course, we're going to need some boat wash in order to get all of the rest of the residue and chemicals off at the end. Today, I'm going to be using the Star Bright boat wash. I'll put links down in the description for everything here. Then I have a Harbor Freight bucket to fill up so that way we can scrub things down. And we'll also need a vacuum and an extension cord, which I have down here. And we're going to get ready to use to clean out all of the leaves and just prep the surface before we remove anything. The other thing we're going to need is a hose and water to make sure we get the surface nice and clean after we are all done removing everything. So let's get into it. And now we're going to take a scraper and start getting up the flooring. Hopefully it all comes up in one piece, but it might not. So I'm going to use a plastic scraper, not a razor, as recommended on the bottle, because I don't want to scratch the surface of my boat in case I ever decide to take the boat flooring off. Now, this flooring is pretty cheap, so the adhesive isn't the best. So we're going to take it and try to get it off in one piece. We ripped it, but trying to get it as much as possible in one piece. And if you can't get it started, then just take your scraper and get it going. Then pull it. And again, we're trying to get this off in as little pieces as possible. It's okay if it rips a little bit. Ooh, you can see the dust coming off. This is the type of dust that was coming off and sticking on our feet and our clothes. So we're just going to clean this up as much as possible. All right, now we're going to take and throw this stuff out and continue on the rest of the boat flooring. As you can see, it left the adhesive on the surface, and that's what we're going to be putting the Citrus King on top of. At this point, we're not going to do anything else yet. We're just going to get the flooring off of the rest of the boat, and we're going to leave this to soak. And we're just going to continue removing the boat flooring. And if it falls apart on one side, then start it on the other side and see if you can get that to come up in one piece. And the way this is falling apart, you can see why you should definitely not buy Amazon flooring to do your boat, especially if you have a nice boat. And maybe if you have a little cheap John boat or something and you don't care that it falls apart on you, then it's not too bad. But the way this floor is disintegrating is just crazy. We're definitely going to have to vacuum up the dust before we actually spray the adhesive on there, because this might get in the way of it. It definitely took me longer than I expected. I was hoping to get more of these pieces up in one piece, but there was a lot of scraping and stuff. And you can see that I actually scraped my gloves and didn't realize it, but I was scraping my finger. So I made my finger a little bit raw there on the rough surface. I still have a few pieces in the back of the boat to take care of, but it's getting dark and this took me longer than I expected. So we are going to resume this tomorrow. We're going to vacuum the floor and get everything sprayed down and get this stuff off of the floor. All right, so we have a few pieces left to get off the back of the boat, but I just wanted to show you guys my hand. I got a blister on the bottom corner of it, and that's because those rubber gloves last night were not really protecting me from the little bit of textured surface that's on the boat deck. So for the rest of the time, we're going to be using an old pair of utility gloves. You can pick up a pair at Harbor Freight for like a few dollars. That way you can throw them out after we get the adhesive off the boat. These are probably going to be ruined with the adhesive remover on them. You might be able to wash them. I'm not sure about that. All right, let's get these last few pieces off. One thing you'll notice after we got done is that there is a ton of debris on the floor that is stuck to the glue. So we want to vacuum up as much of this as possible. So we're just going to do a quick vacuum. It doesn't have to be perfect because we are about to put on the adhesive remover and let it soak and wash this off afterwards. All right, so now we're going to get our shop vac into the boat and get this quick vacuum done. Now that the vacuum is complete, we're going to take our Citrus King and we are going to add our dollar store bottle sprayer to the bottle. Thankfully, these ones fit together. If you can't find a dollar store sprayer, you can always go to Home Depot or Lowe's and just get a pump sprayer. It actually might be easier, but it will be a little bit harder to control where you're spraying. We don't want a lot of overspray, so we're going to make this nozzle spray more of a mist, but not quite like a jet stream, like in somewhere in between. That way we control where we're going with it. We don't want to get these chemicals on our seats or anywhere we don't want it, like our dash. The other thing that I grabbed was a garage towel, just in case we do get some overspray on something we don't want, so we can wipe it up really fast. We'll still have to rinse it off, even if we do wipe it off, but let's just have this just in case to get most of it. Now, when we do this, we really want to make sure that we get this remover spray onto the adhesive. That's the main goal of doing all of this. After we get done spraying it, we are going to let it soak for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to see how easy it is to come off. If it doesn't come off right away, we're going to do another coat. But we don't need to go super duper heavy on the first coat here. So let's make sure we just get a nice spray down on the adhesive. We're just going to pop out the red cap in this after we take the lid off. And we're going to grab our sprayer nozzle. We're going to get it on the end. And we want to make sure it's fairly snug so we're not spilling this in places that we don't want it. All right, let's get to it. Again, our main focus is to try to really get this on only the adhesive. Now that we got a nice even coat across it and made sure that we didn't really overspray onto anything else, we are going to wait about 15 to 20 minutes. The bottle recommends 5 to 10, but this glue is pretty heavily on there. And since I only did this flooring a year ago, it was recommended to me that I do about 20 minutes. So I'm going to wait 20 minutes. We're going to come back and we are going to agitate it possibly with a brush. We'll see how much it is gone when we get up there and dissolved. Another note is I'm going to grab 2 rags so we can plug our drains because we don't want this stuff to go down the drain so that it doesn't mess anything up under the deck. But we're only going to do that until we dilute it down and then we'll be fine. But we're going to try to get most of this up without washing it down the drain. As a side note, I do want to say that you may need to use a respirator when you're taking this stuff off. The citrus smell is pretty strong and you should only do this outside. Do not do this indoors. The smell is fairly heavy and I can tell that it's probably pretty harsh. So you should probably be using a respirator. I'm not, but I do recommend it. All right, now we are going to take our scraper and start to scrape up what we can of this. And it should come up fairly easy. A lot easier than the actual flooring did. And I also grabbed a plastic bag in order to allow us to put this inside of it. So that way we're not making a mess everywhere. This stuff is actually fairly easy to work with now. The adhesive remover, after about 20 minutes, did a great job. So we're going to take this. And it looks like we can actually pull pieces of it up too. We're going to try to keep this as contained as possible though. So we're just going to throw this out right here. Got our trusty Publix bag. I mean, if you can get larger pieces up without scraping it, obviously I would recommend doing that. But it's not guaranteed, so that it's going to go down like that, depending on the adhesive and the flooring you used. This cheap Amazon flooring is obviously going to fall apart to some degree, but we can at least pull some of it up. All right, today is day 3 of removing the boat flooring. I'm having to work around my schedule, so it has to be in the evenings, but I have today off, so we're going to get this done. I did go to Home Depot this morning and got some putty knife scrapers that are plastic. We only want to use plastic on the boat deck because we don't want to scratch it. The other plastic scraper that I had was getting dull, and it was getting like a soft edge on it, so it wasn't really working as well. So hopefully these putty knives will work to finish the rest of the removal of the boat flooring. We just have the back part of the boat left. After we get the rest of the adhesive off, we're going to do another vacuum just to get up any more debris, and then we are going to detail wash the boat to make sure that we get any leftover residue. So let's get back to it. All right, so we got the adhesive all off. The next step is to wash down the boat with the Starbright boat wash. It's concentrated in the heavy duty formula, and we're going to take a brush that we're going to end up throwing out because we don't want to get adhesive remover on any vehicle or clear coat or anything. So we're going to fill up a bucket and use a couple capfuls of this to start out, and we're going to just scrub everything down with a brush. We definitely want to focus on the areas where the boat flooring was. That is the main goal of this. I'm not really detailing my boat other than that. I'm just trying to get all the rest of the adhesive up. The other thing I'm going to do is cut out a couple pieces of screen to cover the drains. That way water can still go through, but it will catch any excess adhesive trying to go down the drain, because we don't really want this stuff to go out into the yard. Also, we don't want it to clog up the drains on my boat. All right, we got the boat done. And just like I thought, my idea worked with the screen to catch most of the debris. So we're good to go. The floor is immaculate. I mean, besides the little bit of stain that it has from the flooring being on there and the glue being on there for a year, it is just crazy how clean I actually got it. So I'm about to show you right now. As you can see, it came out absolutely beautiful. I couldn't be happier with it. That Citrus King adhesive remover really did wonders. I'm glad the guy that's installing the Dubo flooring recommended that to me. It made my life a lot easier. Even though this took about 10 hours for me to complete from start to finish, but that's okay. I wanted to really take my time because I'm getting professionally installed flooring, so I want it to be absolutely perfect for when they install the floor. That way I don't have any issues with that flooring. Lastly, a few things. Those putty knives really worked wonders. It came in a 3-pack, and as you saw throughout the video, I used all 3 sizes and they were awesome. Another thing I did was in the middle, when the knife started to get really dull because of the plastic kind of folding and melting, I just took a knife and cleared it and made a sharp edge again. That really helped. Another tip is as you're spraying the floor, make sure you agitate it on the adhesive while it dries. This will help it absorb into the flooring more. And if you noticed, as I got towards the end, I started to get a lot faster at it. And that's because I started to really figure out how to do it. Thanks for watching. And if this video helps you out, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. To get even smarter, see more of my videos.